Let's start with our first news. Ilya says that fighting at the White House is not a political thing for him. He made it clear that his mindset is strictly focused on competition and nothing else. In a recent interview last night, Ilya explained that for him, sports carries no flags, no political meaning, and only performance matters. He said, "Look, at the end of the day, sports for me has no flags. The athlete is the athlete. I fight, I compete, and I work for a company. The company told me I have to be at the White House, so I'm going to go do my job." He emphasized that this is not a political stance at all, but simply professional obligation. Ilya added that when he receives a call to compete, he shows up and delivers, without attaching external meaning to the venue. Speaking about the White House itself, he said it is not belonging to one person only. It belongs to everyone. Today, one person is there. Tomorrow another takes place, and life continues in the same cycle. He stressed that the focus should remain on the fight itself, not on external narratives built around it. For him, the cage is the only place that matters, where preparation and execution define everything. Ilya also pointed out that athletes are employees of organizations, and their duty is to perform whenever and wherever they are scheduled. The location, even if it is the White House, does not change his approach or mindset. He concluded that professionalism means showing up and doing the job regardless of circumstance or attention surrounding the event. He made it clear that his mindset stays unchanged no matter the stage or spotlight involved in the fight night. Discipline defines everything for Ilya in every appearance. Move on to another. Newstom Aspinall says his eye is healing well and he expects to be cleared for contact training soon, with steady progress and positive updates from medical scans, reassurance from doctors. He revealed his return fight is likely to come against the winner of Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane interim title fight, as the UFC plans continue to move forward as negotiations progress behind scenes. We are just en route. Back from eye hospital, where today I've had a scan, and things are progressing nicely, which I'm very happy about, showing clear improvement, following specialist review. They're saying pretty soon, if things keep moving right direction, I will be cleared for contact, based on continued recovery and medical approval, as recovery continues smoothly. I am back in the gym, back training, no sparring just yet, but still building fitness and staying active every day, staying consistent with rehab plan. But if things keep going the way they're going, we are back, fully focused on the comeback timeline and recovery process, maintaining full focus on return. The other two guys, Alex and Cyril, have to fight for interim title, setting up a major clash in the division, shaping upcoming title picture. I'm obviously going to fight the winner, as that is the clear direction given for my return path, as plan remains unchanged. UFC have told me that I'm fighting the winner, and that is the expectation moving forward, confirming official matchup direction. First and foremost, I have to get my health right, which is on right track, with recovery going as planned, with full recovery focus. When are you thinking about comeback? Any specific month? Asked by media during the interview session, during press interaction segment. No specific month. I'm waiting to get clearance, which is coming soon, according to current medical expectations, pending final medical clearance. Any specific month depends on UFC scheduling decisions and overall recovery timeline for all fighters involved, based on organizational planning. Those other two have got to fight each other to determine the interim champion status in the division, to finalize interim champion status. Let them do the thing first, recover from that, and then when everybody's ready, we'll do it, step by step, moving toward final scheduling phase. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier doesn't think fans would care if the UFC booked Ian Machado versus Carlos Prates rather than Islam versus Ian Garry. He said it feels like it's going to be Ian Garry, but if it was to be Prates after that, nobody would complain. Nobody would complain. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we just saw Islam beat JDM in the way that he did. We saw him dominate JDM to win the championship. The way Islam beat JDM was not nearly as impressive as what Carlos Prates did the other day. Now it was impressive. He made it look easy, but that yesterday was crazy. That was crazy. It looked like JDM didn't belong in there with Prates. Now, if that's how Carlos fights from now on, if that's who he is today, a guy that really takes his time, he's patient, can pick people apart like that, and he's huge for the weight class. He's a real issue. Cormier emphasized that performances like that change perceptions quickly in the division. He added that fans often react more strongly to recent dominant finishes than past title performances. In his view, Carlos Prates showed a level of composure and timing that makes him a dangerous matchup for anyone at the top. He pointed out that if Prates continues to fight with patience and accuracy, his rise in the division could happen very fast. Cormier also suggested that stylistic matchups matter more than rankings when it comes to fan interest. He believes that someone who dominates a top contender in convincing fashion instantly enters the conversation for bigger fights. According to him, if Prates can replicate that performance consistently, then discussions about title contention will become unavoidable. He finished by saying that momentum in MMA can shift very quickly, especially when a fighter delivers a statement win like that on a major stage. He believes this kind of impact often reshapes matchmaking discussions inside the UFC, and that is why he said nobody would complain if that fight gets made next. Because the hype and performance would justify the decision in the eyes of fans and analysts alike. Cormier reiterated that moments like this are what build new contenders, quickly in modern MMA, shaping future title pictures and creating new main event opportunities, especially after standout dominant performances like that. Move on to another news. Carlos Prates has made it clear that he is not interested in fighting for a #1 contender spot in the division. Speaking after the press conference, Prates stated that he has no intention of taking a ranked eliminator fight against Morales or any other contender at this stage. He explained that his focus is strictly on waiting for a title opportunity rather than going through another contender matchup. The discussion comes as the division continues to take shape, with potential scheduling of Islam versus Ian Garry being mentioned for August and a possible follow-up title fight not expected until early next year. During the media exchange, he was asked directly whether he would consider staying active by facing fighters like Morales, Bal, or Usman, instead of waiting. The question also raised whether he was comfortable remaining inactive for a longer period while waiting for a championship opportunity to open up. Prates responded with a firm stance, making it clear that his decision is to wait rather than take another fight in between. He said, "No, I gonna wait to know before," emphasizing his intention to hold out until the title picture becomes clear. His approach signals confidence in his current position within the division as he chooses patience over activity. Rather than risking momentum in a contender bout, Prates appears focused on positioning himself directly for a championship opportunity once the top of the division is resolved. The situation highlights a growing trend in modern MMA where rising contenders sometimes choose to bypass eliminator fights if they believe a title shot is within reach. Prates' comments suggest he views his recent performances as strong enough to justify waiting for the biggest opportunity available. For now, he remains on standby, watching how the title landscape develops, while maintaining that he is not interested in taking detours through additional contender matchups. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier says Carlos Prates could end up fighting Islam Makhachev at UFC 330, following his recent rise and standout performances that have caught major attention across the division. Speaking about Prates potentially waiting for a title shot, Cormier praised his performance and said he would not be surprised if Prates skips the line and gets tapped to face Makhachev next. During a video on his YouTube channel, DC explained his view on the current title picture and why Prates is suddenly being discussed at the very top level of the division. He said, "I mean, it feels like it's going to be Ian Garry, but if it was to be Prates after that, nobody would complain. Nobody would complain." He then broke down the reasoning behind that statement, pointing to Islam's most recent championship performance. Cormier said that we just saw Islam beat Jadam in dominant fashion to win the title, controlling the fight from start to finish and securing the championship with authority. However, he emphasized that in his opinion, the way Islam defeated Jadam was not nearly as visually impressive as what Carlos Prates delivered in his recent performance. While still acknowledging it was a strong win, he said Prates' performance stood out more in terms of impact and dominance. Cormier added, "It was impressive. He made it look easy. But that yesterday was crazy. That was crazy. It looked like JDM didn't belong in there with Prates." He continued by explaining that if Prates continues fighting at that level, everything changes quickly. According to him, if Prates is truly this version of himself moving forward, a fighter who is patient, composed, and capable of breaking opponents apart methodically, then he becomes a major problem for the entire division. Cormier also highlighted Prates' physical attributes, noting that he is very large for the weight class, which adds another layer of danger to his style and skill set. However, it is also important to note that following the fight, Prates was seen wearing a boot, raising questions about his recovery timeline and how long he may be sidelined before any potential return to action. Move on to another news. Michael Morales is now reportedly pushing for a fight against Carlos Prates, raising questions about whether his focus has shifted away from a potential clash with Islam Makhachev. The situation in the division continues to evolve, with matchmaking still uncertain and major fights being discussed behind the scenes. Is Michael Morales no longer pushing for the Islam Makhachev fight? That is the question being raised, as recent developments suggest a possible change in direction. As previously covered, all signs are still pointing toward the UFC potentially booking Ian Garry versus Makhachev at UFC 330 in Philadelphia, but nothing has been made official yet. The title picture remains fluid, with multiple contenders and scenarios still on the table. However, attention has now shifted after Morales made a notable move on social media following UFC Perth. Shortly after the event, Michael Morales posted a picture on Instagram featuring himself alongside Carlos Prates. The post immediately sparked speculation among fans and analysts, suggesting that he may be indirectly calling for or promoting a matchup with Prates next. This comes at a time when Prates himself is already being discussed in major contender conversations, making the potential matchup even more significant within the division landscape. The timing of the post has led many to believe that Morales could be positioning himself for a high-profile fight against Prates rather than continuing pursuit of the Islam Makhachev title path. While no official announcements have been made, the message appears clear. Interest in a Prates matchup is growing. For now, the division remains in a state of uncertainty, with multiple possible directions depending on UFC matchmaking decisions. Both the title picture and contender rankings are still developing, and this latest social media activity only adds more intrigue to what comes next. Move on to another news. Justin Gaethje is being described as very fragile as a striker, according to comments coming from Alexander during Ilya's weekly Road to the White House series. This time, tensions appear to be rising inside the training camp, as Ilya and his brother Alexander continue putting in serious work ahead of upcoming preparations. Alexander seems confident that he has studied Justin Gaethje's style in detail, believing he understands when Ilya should strike aggressively and when he should stay defensive. While speaking directly to Ilya, Alexander explained that Justin Gaethje can be vulnerable in striking exchanges because he does not always land clean shots and often relies on chaos. He added that Gaethje is very fragile in exchanges, especially when forced into technical exchanges against precise strikers. Alexander emphasized that Justin Gaethje does not hit cleanly like Ilya, and instead throws with full force, which creates openings during exchanges. According to him, that is where Gaethje becomes vulnerable, especially when he commits fully without defensive awareness in return. He also warned that Gaethje is a dog in exchanges and does not back down easily, making timing and selection extremely important. Alexander stressed that if Ilya chooses to strike, he must be selective, calculate openings, and stay protected at all times. He explained that every exchange must be thought through, because Gaethje's aggression creates both danger and opportunity simultaneously. The discussion also touched on whether this analysis refers more to Gaethje's chin or his striking defense, referencing past fights such as Max Holloway. Some believe it points to moments where he becomes reckless during exchanges and leaves openings that can be exploited by sharp counter-strikers. The conversation ends with analysis of Gaethje's style, highlighting both his danger and his vulnerability when pressured in high-level striking exchanges. This breakdown has sparked debate among fans and analysts, with many questioning how effective this assessment is against elite competition. Others argue that Gaethje's unpredictability remains his greatest weapon, and that labeling him fragile may overlook his proven durability in past wars. As the series continues, Ilya's camp remains focused on sharpening timing, defensive responsibility, and controlled aggression ahead of future high-stakes matchups. The discussion around Gaethje's striking style continues to divide opinion, with strong reactions emerging after every breakdown released in the ongoing analysis series. Overall narrative remains intense and widely discussed across platforms.